Crypto Spot. It's the poor man's jackpot. You win with the bots, you get shot. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. A pair of crypto investors have been arrested here in New York City for allegedly kidnapping their business partner and torturing him in an effort to get his password to get access to his Bitcoin wallet.
Tonight, no bail for the second person now in custody in that Bitcoin kidnapping torture case in Soho. He appeared in court late tonight, now facing kidnapping and assault charges, accused of holding an Italian business partner captive for weeks. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo with these new details and how officials say the victim was lured in.
William Duplessis, the second crypto investor accused of kidnapping and torture, appeared tense before the judge in his long-sleeve white polo shirt.
Sorry, we don't have any comment at this time.
The defense had no comment after being denied a $1 million bail package that would have placed Duplessis in home detention with his father, who flew in from Florida.
Why did you do it?
Instead, Duplessis will sit behind bars, held without bail, after turning himself in earlier today, night and day from the lush Soho townhouse he lived in with his co-defendant, John Waltz. Prosecutors say the pair of crypto investors tortured a man for nearly 3 weeks there. New court details revealed just how sadistic. The pair allegedly urinated on the victim and forced him to smoke crack cocaine.
For what we know now, this was a dispute over crypto money. They all know each other, but this was a kidnapping for roughly 17 days where they tortured this person.
Prosecutors say the investors lured the victim from Italy to this Prince Street brownstone by threatening to have his family killed. Once he arrived, he was stripped of his passport and electronics, bound by the wrists, beaten and zapped with electric shocks. At one point, prosecutors say Waltz carried the victim to the top flight of stairs and hung him over the ledge, threatening to kill him if he did not give up his Bitcoin password.
It's good that Bitcoin Cash works.
Duplessis can be seen here in this 2019 interview with Bitcoin.com. Prosecutors say the victim, taken captive, believed he'd be shot Friday, so he told his captors he'd give up his Bitcoin password and made a run for it to successfully escape when they went to get the laptop. Prosecutors say Duplessis faces a minimum of 15 to life and a maximum of 25 to life. They're looking into a previous conviction in Switzerland. In Lower Manhattan, Anthony Carlo, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Now, according to reports, Bitcoin Bro investors John Waltz and Williams Duplessis allegedly kidnapped their Italian business partner, a 28-year-old man, and as they took him into a townhouse that they had been renting in Soho on Prince Street, a 6-story luxury townhouse, they allegedly took the passport of their business partner and then held him captive for 17 days, beating and torturing him in an effort to coerce him into giving up the password for his Bitcoin wallet so that they could allegedly steal his Bitcoin money out of his Bitcoin wallet. And as they looked to try to coerce this Italian business partner into giving up his Bitcoin, they allegedly pointed a gun at his head, beat him with the gun, pistol whipping him, allegedly made threats against his family, and also forced him to smoke crack cocaine, and also hung him from the ledge of the 6th story of the building, all in an effort to try to coerce the man into giving up that password. And as he was being battered over the course of 17 days, eventually he submitted to tell them he was going to give them the password. And as he told them that the password was on his laptop, he then went, and as they were looking to get the laptop, fled from the home, and as he fled from the home, he ran into a traffic cop, and as he ran into the traffic cop, he told them what had happened, and this is where police then wound up taking John Waltz into custody for this alleged kidnapping, and after taking him into custody, he was held without bail as related to these serious charges. Now, the NYPD sees the alleged behavior of John Waltz and his partner who turned himself in, William Duplass, as an isolated incident in a pattern of incidents regarding Bitcoin crimes and people looking to kidnap people or their families in an effort to try to get access to this Bitcoin. But when I take a critical examination of the alleged behavior of John Waltz and William Duplass, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it looks like to me that both of these beta males' behavior definitely fits a pattern and profile of behavior that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, in the chapter Addiction and the Man Crisis, because I believe that these crypto bros were basically addicted to this quest to again get this crypto, and as they were addicted to this crypto, they began feeling a rush of power that many beta males feel when they enter a place I call the secret world. Now, when it comes down to this whole cryptocurrency, it basically has its roots in a place called the dark web. And because it has its roots in a place called the dark web, a lot of the people who go out here and work on crypto in the beginnings of crypto basically were living in a place I call the secret world. And in the secret world, this is where these people felt secure about expressing their natural masculinity and their natural sexuality because they felt inadequate about themselves, and the internet gave them a safe place where they felt that where they could escape to express who they actually were. And as they came into that place, they came there feeling a place where they felt secure about being themselves. And that's what possibly happened here with John Waltz and William Duplass. They came on this dark web, again looking to invest in crypto, but as they were looking to invest in crypto, they basically saw a place where they could actually have the power they wanted as a man in the real world. And as they wanted to get this power as the man in the real world, they were making lots of money with this crypto. Yes, they were making lots of money, but however, as they were making money, they were still feeling inadequate about themselves, and this is where they started to go on this quest for power, and this is where they got really an issue with this Italian business partner, a guy who was younger than them. And as they were with this younger guy, they had little respect for that person. And with many beta males, when they have no respect for a person, this is where they start seeing a person not as a human being, but as an object that they can go out here and abuse. And that's what I believe happened here with this Italian business partner. They thought he was less than them because, one, he was a foreign man, and two, he was a younger man. And they were basically angry at this guy, and I believe in some cases jealous of his success. And as they were jealous of his success, they basically wanted to go out here, and they were seething in anger with him, and they wanted to find an opportunity to possibly hurt him. And I believe what happened here as they were in this crypto spot, which is basically reminds me a lot of the gambling spots that were in the neighborhood, in my South Bronx neighborhood. I mean, in my South Bronx neighborhood, when people want to go out here and get some quick cash, what they do is they go down and go play some CeeLo, or they go play some spades in the back of the barbershop or the bodega, and they hope to go out here and get some quick money at the gambling spot, hoping to get a poor man's jackpot, as Cool G Rap talked about in his music video Streets of New York, and his song Streets of New York. And what happens usually in those situations is, because he's dealing with shady folks, is if you win on the lot, like G Rap says, you get shot. And what happened here with the crypto bros is that they were at the crypto spot winning with the bots. And what happened here is that these guys saw how he was winning with the crypto bots, and they wanted to go out here and take what he won on the lot. Now, they didn't go out here and shoot this guy. No, what they did was go out here and do something worse, because with beta males, they do always think of doing something horrific to someone, because they want to not only go out here and go out here and hurt someone. They want to dehumanize and humiliate someone because it's all about power for the beta male. It's always all about power for the beta male. So that's why they went out here and came up with this plan to go out here and do harm to this Italian businessman. This is where they look to go out here and look to torture this man, and look to torture this man, I believe, not just for a rush of power, but also possibly because they possibly got jammed up as related to playing the game at the crypto spot, looking to get this new poor man's jackpot. Because when it comes down to crypto, again, a lot of these guys started out on the dark web doing shady business and looking to use crypto as a way to launder money for all sorts of shady folks. Now, if you ever watched the movie Dope, which featured Shamik Moore, they go in depth on how Bitcoin got its start. Now, when it comes down to Bitcoin is basically a virtual money. It really doesn't have any actual value because it's not backed by any sort of government as a fiat currency. No, it's a virtual currency that only has value based on what is virtually presented by the people who are backing it. And usually the people who are backing it are usually participating in some sort of money laundering scheme like they talk about in Dope. Usually it's guys like drug dealers, people in organized crime, in the Italian organized crime, or Russian organized crime, or Asian organized crime. They are the ones who look to go out here and launder money through the Bitcoin, and look to launder the money through the Bitcoin in an effort to, again, keep many government agencies from being able to gain access to those assets or evidence of those assets. So instead of having actual cash on hand, what they do is turn it into virtual Bitcoin, and again make it virtual money that's traded on the dark web. And that's how the money actually gets its actual value, and that's why these guys basically became millionaires with high values. I mean, I look at these guys, again, this guy John Waltz and William Duplace. Again, these guys had a net worth of $100 million and millions of dollars. And again, why would they have to torture this guy if they've got this money? That's the critical question I have to ask. But when I look at the movie Dope, I understand why they possibly had a motive to torture this third partner. Because when you have your money inside of this Bitcoin, a lot of that money basically is money that was laundered by these individuals who are a part of organized crime and other criminal enterprises like drug dealers and drug cartels. And with them having all of this money basically being laundered through this whole Bitcoin, this virtual money that has value only based on what people are saying, these individuals basically possibly were looking to live a lavish lifestyle, because renting that home was over $40,000 a month. They had stripper poles in the basement. They were all sorts of alleged drugs found in that home. So these guys were basically living the classic beta male lavish lifestyle like they see in many movies like The Wolf of Wall Street and many other movies like Wall Street, and thinking, oh, I can go out here and party real hard, go get with these strippers and blow lots of money. And however, when you're out here living that type of lifestyle, blowing all that money, eventually people who are in these activities, such as organized crime and drug cartels and other criminal enterprises, they want to know what's going on with their money that they basically possibly gave these guys to turn into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And when it came down to these guys starting to ask these guys where that money is, that's where these guys possibly started to panic, and that's where they wanted to go out here and steal the Bitcoin of the other individual, the partner, who they thought was weak. This is what I'm speculating possibly happened, because this is what happens all the time with folks who do get involved with these type of gambling spots in the neighborhood as related to the bodega, because a lot of times a lot of the bodegas in the Bronx, they used to be fronts for the dope dealers, and they were fronts to, again, put the cash through as related to putting it in the bank and laundering the money. And what would happen is that people would want to know where that money is, and some of them would want to find out what's going on because they see this guy running around living this lavish lifestyle. They see these two dudes living a lavish lifestyle, making a lot of noise. And as they make that noise, what happens is those people involved in those illegal activities start asking questions about where their money is because they see you out here spending money, drawing attention to yourself, going out here getting all these women and stuff and tricking the money off. And what eventually happens is, again, these guys start asking about their money, and then they have to go out here and try to find a way to get these people their cash. And like in the movie Dope, they talk about how it's hard to get that cash and get that money turned into cash, because in the movie Dope, they talk about how the character that Shameik Moore is playing is trying to find a way to get that money from the guy who had recruited him. He was a guy who was a prominent businessman who basically was looking to try to get him into Harvard, and his test was to go out here and take the dope money and eventually turn the dope money into find a way to launder this money. And if he laundered the money, he would get him into Harvard, and that's where he came up with the Bitcoin scheme that basically I believe that these two guys were participating in. And eventually what happened to those guys is they again wound up starting to spend some of this money because they said, okay, this guy says he's got a net worth of 100 million, and the other guy thought, oh, I have money. But again, when you're living this lifestyle where you're going out here renting a Soho townhouse 6 stories straight for months at a time, for years, that's eating up your money. And when you're living as related to expenses, again, going out here spending money on tricking on women, buying cars, buying luxury clothes, what happens is your money starts going down. And as your money starts going down, as related to your everyday operations, this is where you start getting desperate because people start asking about their money. And that's where these guys got into a place of desperation where they wanted to get this partner's Bitcoin, wanted to get this partner's Bitcoin password so that they could go out here and participate in this robbery of his money. And this is why they threatened him to get him to come there, took his passport, then tied him up with chicken wire, then beat him and tortured him over the course of 3 weeks in an effort to get that money, in an effort to go out here and get that money because he was owing some people in these streets as related to this Bitcoin, as related to real cash. And that's where these guys, again, thought that as tech nerds, they were going to outsmart these criminals, but wound up outsmarting, jamming themselves up, because when it comes down to these type of folks, again, they think that they're so smart, and that's a beta male trait. A lot of beta males be thinking that they so smart, but they wind up outsmarting themselves, and that's what I believe happened here with John Waltz and William Duplace. They wound up outsmarting themselves as related to trying to outsmart these people in these possible criminal enterprises. Again, this is just me speculating as here, because when it comes to beta males, they always think that they're going to go out here and run some game, especially these nerdy type beta males who are into tech. They think they're going to run some game with some shady folks, but what happens is that they wind up jamming themselves up because basically they don't know how the game runs as related to money, and they don't know about the process of money. And that's why we're seeing this whole new disturbing trend of people, going out here looking to commit crimes against people who are into crypto. They're looking to go out here and look to commit these crimes against people who are into crypto because it's easy money, because again, this is not actual money, this is virtual money. It's not something that's in a bank with a bank account that's basically guaranteed by the government to have value. One, it's not money that's money that is protected by a bank as related to being insured, and it's basically just money that's in virtual space right there for the taking on the web or the dark web. And all it takes is for someone to go out here and look to try to take that money, and there's nobody there to actually verify that there's actual money there. So whoever owns the Bitcoin basically it has money in a virtual space that it can be taken from as related to the money that they have out there. I mean, the only thing that's protecting that money is a password, because there's again no FDIC guarantee like we had as related to actual money. No, this virtual money is just out there, and since this virtual money is just out there, it's just ready for someone to take. And that's what these guys wanted to do with this third partner. Again, they wanted to take away his money, but also wanted to take away his power as a man, because they had nothing but contempt for him. And as they had contempt for him, what they wanted to do was emasculate him as a man, take away his manhood and his masculinity, and again, humiliate this man, because again, with beta males, everything is always about power. They wanted to go not only take away his money, but take away his manhood and his masculinity, and wanted to humiliate him. And that's what beta males do, because again, when it comes to beta males, whenever they start to rise as related to so-called success, these men have deep insecurities about power, and this is why they go out here and start participating in vices in the secret world. This is why they participate in getting involved with strippers and prostitutes and getting involved with alcohol and drugs, because these men are addicted to power, and they are addicted because they never felt power as a man. And when they start to get power, they start to have an addiction mindset where they get a rush from being able to dominate and humiliate people, a rush where they look from getting off from seeing people hurt. And that's what had happened with the business partner. And as they were out here trading this money and making money, they basically wanted to get a stronger high, and they wanted to get a stronger high by humiliating their Italian business partner. That was what was going on here as related to John Waltz and William Duplass. Again, these were men, while they had lots of money, they were men with serious issues, and the money basically was something that was covering up all the issues with many of these men. Again, like the gambler, again, you're addicted to the high that you get from getting the money, and that high just isn't enough, and then you start participating in vices. That's what was happening here as related to these guys at the crypto spot, which is no different than the CeeLo spot. Again, like G-Rap says in his classic video, Streets of New York, and ironically this took place in the streets of New York in one of the most prominent neighborhoods, we saw the behavior of these white men basically being the same as many of the guys in the hood. We saw them with the same type of behavior. Again, for them, the crypto spot basically is a poor man's jackpot, but it's a poor man's jackpot online. And as you're playing with the bots, you're winding up in the same situation as the Pookie who's on the street rolling the CeeLo dice, or playing the spades in the back of the barbershop, or playing spades in the back of the bodega, or playing the slot machine in the back of the bodega, hoping to get himself a poor man's jackpot. But because you're around shady folks and you're involved with shady folks, as you're playing with the bots, there's a possibility of getting shot. I mean, that's what I see here going on as related to things. And now that they've gone out here and again tortured this man, these guys who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars are now seeing how worthless they are as related to their self-esteem, and that low self-worth has taken them from being these ballers who are living large to possibly now living inside of Rikers Island. And as they're living on Rikers Island, they're possibly on a road to getting convicted, because these guys were dumb enough to go out here and take Polaroids in an effort to try to send them to his family. Again, creating virtual evidence online, a virtual paper trail that possibly will lead to both of these men being convicted and possibly getting life in prison, because kidnapping in and of itself is a federal offense. And if there's a further investigation that goes into that dark web and finds them involved with shady business, possibly these guys are going to be going away for a long time, where they're not going to be the ones looking to get power as authorities over a weaker man, but we'll have to deal with the authority of the COs, and we'll also have to deal with the social pecking order of Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, and we'll have to deal in actual commissary items where everything is tangible and not intangible, and will have to possibly give up some booty if there's no money on their books to trade for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, Keef coffee, Taster's Choice coffee, off-brand orange drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand mango drink, off-brand strawberry drink, off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand kiwi strawberry drink, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand chocolate chip cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, off-brand lemon cookies, Hunt's snack pack puddings, beef summer sausage, hot and sour pickles, hot Mexican peppers, packets of soy sauce, packets of sriracha sauce, packets of honey mustard, packets of duck sauce. I mean, packets of rice, velveted cheese, prison chips, off-brand pretzels. I mean, these guys basically going to have to go out here and try to find the actual cash to go out here and or actual items in the commissary to trade with these guys as they basically go after their front side and their back side and basically wind up violating them as they spit roast them. And then Mr. Sprinkles comes in, sprays the front side and the back side with his special sauce, and then calls all the guys from Cell Block D to see the Bitcoin Bros backsides as they split them open and then show their backsides being glazed and looking like the inside of a Louisiana crunch cake. That is the fate that the Crypto Bros are basically going to wind up being in, because they look to invest in a quest for power to humiliate this man. And it basically shows, again, a further disturbing pattern as related to the man crisis, because, again, this is all not about money and success. This is all about a quest for power that these men have, because they feel inadequate about themselves before they go out here and get this money. Before they got this money, they were feeling inadequate about themselves. They wanted to do like many guys did during the days of the gambling spot and the dope game, look to go out here and get quick cash and look to think to get quick cash. However, when it came down to the whole business of Bitcoin, the whole business of Bitcoin was shady from day one, and it's been a shady and greasy business that healthy men don't get into, because it's no different than gambling at Atlantic City or gambling at the Native American casino or Vegas. The game is basically rigged. And it's a rigged game where you will never win, because the house always makes it where they always win. But when you got a guy who's desperate for social acceptance, a guy who's desperate for social currency, he'll go out here and sacrifice his dignity and his self-worth, like many cyber simps do, because they also go out here and live double lives. When it comes down to the cyber simp, they're living a double life. And that's what these guys basically did. Like I talk about in my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, these guys go on cyberspace looking to, again, look to create an online persona in order to be the man they actually want to be. But as they go on places like the dark web, they enter a secret world where they think they're on a road to being a man. Unfortunately, what's happening to these dudes, the Crypto Bros, is that they're just another case of a beta male who knows how to use technology not to go out here and be the actual man they are, but wind up being a man in crisis whose life becomes a complete mess when his double life is revealed to the real world. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behavior of an online cyber simp, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, to learn all about guys like this and why they, again, live double lives online and what motivates them to live that double life online and participate in this antisocial behavior regarding people in the real world. And you can find Stop Simping in Cyberspace on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Stop Simping in Cyberspace at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn and identify the behavior of beta males like this and why even with that, when they get money, they go wild like this, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about The Man Crisis, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box so I can continue being able to make this content and continue to stay on the air. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.